Welcome to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I tell you, it's your business to wrap up this year strongly financially. And on the social media, we get lots of questions about this. After all, it is a business show, and unbelievable. I just was realizing recently, 17 years, one of the longest running business shows in the country, and now nationally syndicated thanks to our friends at the Biz Talk Radio Network. So, of course, we get questions about how to end the year strongly financially, and wanted to answer those questions in a way that I thought was very authoritative. I bringing on a good friend and a Price of Business contributor, Chris Kidd. His website is chriskidd, that's KIDD.com. Chris, as always, welcome to the program. Before we get started, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you will help people when it comes to financial issues. You're kind of our financial coach, our go-to guy in that respect.
Yeah, well, I am a financial coach. I wear a lot of hats. I guess entrepreneur would be the big sombrero that I wear with the many different things. But basically, I help people get better with money, whether that's getting out of debt, investing, just managing their money better, making better decisions, or starting businesses, growing businesses, really almost anything to do with money. There's certain areas that I deal more in than others, but just helping people resolve any kind of financial issues and stress in their life and just make things better from a financial standpoint.
Yeah. Well, this is the, quote, most wonderful time of the year, as the song says, but it's also one of the most stressful. People have got a lot of, issues that they got to think about. Thanks to the IRS, they've got looming taxes to deal with for 2018, not to mention the temptation of going beyond what you intended budget-wise, or worse still, you didn't even make a budget, but you still want to spend several $100s on friends and family. So talk a little bit about that. Kind of give us a look at the December landscape for individuals out there.
Yeah, December is one of those months that a lot of people that I deal with end up having some sort of stress either in that month or when they come to me after December is over with and they're trying to get things cleaned up in January. I call it the Christmas hangover. That's basically where they either run out of budget or, like you said, they don't have a budget to begin with. We overspend. We get stuff that is really more than what we would spend, but somebody really has to have it, so we go out of our way and just find ways to make it happen. There's a number of different things, but really, a lot of times we end up in situations where we don't want to look at our bank account too much until after Christmas is done, because if we did, it would tell us you can't afford that. So what happens is we look at it after, and then we have that hangover effect, and people come to me and are like, all right, well, how do I fix this? How do I get things cleaned up for next year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course the answer always is in planning. Then you're not surprised.
Yeah, I'd say, smart financial budgeting is basically you tell your money where to go. That way you don't have to ask where it went. Yeah.
One of the things I like about, conversing with you is that you do get the emotional side of what's happening regarding money. There's some really interesting cliches out there when it comes to money. We live within our means, but our means don't define us. But I think that's a struggle a lot of people have, to even just sit down and tangibly quantify what they want to spend or need to spend on different things. Almost makes them think financially lesser of themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, why do I have to do this? Well, guess what? Even billionaires are doing this. Now, they're not actually sitting down with a pen and paper. They got teams of accountants who do that type of thing. But billionaires want to stay billionaires, and the only way they do that is by that kind of planning. And the same goes with millionaires. And so, what is it? What do you think it is in the psychological or emotional side that makes us struggle when it comes to this kind of thing?
Well, I think a lot of it, kind of what you touched on, is kind of a sense of self-worth. A lot of times we'll base that off of, how much money we have in the bank, or, who likes us or doesn't like us, or this or that. rather than realizing we all have value. And first and foremost, that's one of the cornerstones is you have to realize your value with or without money, because you can go through difficult financial situations. I've gone through them. There's millionaires and billionaires and all. There's people. Everyone goes through them. I don't care where they're at. There's guys that people would know right now if I dropped their name, who are worth millions and even billions, who some people may not know the stuff that they've been through, but everybody's been through stuff, and it's not a matter of how much you have in your bank account. You have a value no matter what, and what can you bring to the table? A lot of times that also helps start putting money in your pocket with people that I deal with that want to figure out, one, how can I start building wealth, or how can I make more money? I work at a job, this is my salary, or I get paid this much an hour, there's only so much that I can make, and I need to make more, it's just not enough. So one of the things is, all right, well, what are things that you're good at that you can do to serve other people that they can pay you for? And you would really be surprised at some of the stuff that can come out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he's like, I don't know how many times he's been on my show, but, he'll be the first to tell you he's been bankrupt a couple of times. And Donald Trump, I hate to say it, but I like Donald Trump bankrupt more than I do on top of the world. Because, he when he was going through his bankruptcy, and he's done that, I think, 4 times now. Which one are you talking about, Kevin? I think there's 4. But anyway, each time he's gone through one of those, he can be extraordinarily humble. He'll talk about the doorman that he's handing a tip to, whose, real actual income, total income was more than his at that time because of, accounting, the way that's done when you're in bankruptcy. And, it would shock people. The reason why people aren't rich is because they're not willing to take the risk of what comes with being rich, which is really, in many respects, a much higher likelihood of facing the possibility of bankruptcy. So, yeah, I like that, and I totally get what you're saying. I think that we are, each of us, just because of being created by God, we have self-worth, and if we can focus on that, then I think we're less affected by what we're making in the process. So kind of give us some pointers, some thoughts to help close the year financially, and some things to think about for 2018.
Well, and one other thing to touch on that kind of goes forward with this, but also with what you're saying about the self-worth deals, when you're it's a lot easier to say when you're not going through it, but when you're going through it, it is a lot tougher to feel, good about yourself. So that's why it's really important to have somebody that you're talking to, whether it's a coach, a friend, or a mentor, or somebody who can help you stay on track, or realize your value. And as far as going forward, same type of deal. I mean, you got to figure out, number one, where you're at right now, and even if it's a hard truth to face, you got to figure out exactly where you are before you can figure out where you want to begin to get going, and then figure out where is it that you want to be. What do you want life to be like at this time next year? I really say, look 5 or 10 years down the road and see where you want to be, and then start working your way back. All right, well, what do I want to do? If I want to be here in 5 years, what do I have to do over the next 2 or 3 years? What do I have to do over the next 18 months? What do I have to do next year? And then how do I break that down into monthly goals, and what's my weekly process going to have to be for me to stay on track? And then, figure out who you can work with or talk to help you stay on track. Accountability is a huge thing. And then the sacrifices, there's going to be sacrifices that have to be made. Practicing delayed gratification is one of my big things. So it means, one, if you can't afford it, you don't get it. But 2, if you can afford it and your goal's bigger, you still don't get it. You just keep pushing forward. And one of the other things as far as dealing with people on the emotional side is if they really have somewhere that they want to be that's kind of a big goal, like in my case, when I was 19, I said I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25. So I had this big goal. The only thing is most people, like you said, don't do the work. They just, wish that they had something. So, one, I started doing the work, and then two, I had to get myself to where I believed that I could do it, because otherwise I'm not going to make the sacrifices. And most people, that's why they don't make sacrifices.
Yeah, forgive me. We got about 30 seconds. And so what I want to encourage the listener to do is to go to chriskidd.com. And you are absolutely right. Solomon said, as a man thinketh, so is he. And so if you think you're not going to be a millionaire, I guarantee you that's exactly what's going to happen. And so we have to have transformative thinking in order to have transformative results, which is why we love having Chris on the program. Chris Kidd. His website is chriskidd with 2 D's at the end, chriskidd.com. I'm Kevin Price. You're listening to The Price of Business. We want to remind you the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. And this is the Biz Talk Radio Network.